I'm gonna be honest. I don't actually really know how to start this off. I mean, because, hey everybody, how you doing? I've been doing pretty alright myself. In hindsight, I probably should have prepared for this more, but, I mean, hey, it's not really that difficult to answer questions and all that. But anyways, you know what this video is going to be about with the title. I'm going to be doing a Q&A, basically answering different questions that people have asked, as well as asking questions and answering them that weren't asked of me. Yeah, I did sort of realize halfway through making this that I didn't really get a whole lot of questions. So instead of doing just a dynamic Q&A, I'm gonna do both a dynamic Q&A and a generic Q&A, so that way this video ain't, 2 minutes long, if that's alright with you guys. But besides that, let's just jump into the video. So just to let you guys know, I'm gonna answer the questions you guys asked me towards the end of the video, so skip towards the end if you want to see one of your questions answered. But for now, I'll just stick with, generic questions that get specific and all that. So let's start with first question. Probably one of the most generic questions ever asked. Why did I want to become a YouTuber? That's it's both a difficult and a very simple answer. I've always sort of wanted to have a little bit of a following whenever I started watching major YouTubers because, it seemed kinda cool. But I think the thing that might have enabled it, the thing that started it, was all the way back when I used to watch my mother play Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo system, and for whatever reason, I just really loved watching her do it. It was fun to watch somebody else play a game that I could also be playing, which I guess fits most people that watch YouTubers. And so, starting from that, I eventually started watching other YouTubers in school, and eventually I just found a group of people that I liked. It was, to say the least, a very fun experience watching other people play the games that I could also be playing. But that's not the only reason. One of the reasons why I wanted to become a YouTuber, besides just I saw other people doing it, was because I sort of wanted to leave something. Just leave something, if anything, just because I didn't really want to be forgotten. I wanted to make something that I was proud of that wasn't, something related to school or a job. Both of those reasons are pretty much the major influences for why I decided to become a YouTuber in the first place. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it is the truth. So, yeah, that's the reason why I became a YouTuber. I enjoyed watching other people play games, and I wanted to leave something. Whether or not this channel becomes more successful than it already is, doesn't really matter to me, because I know that I've done something that I felt was pretty meaningful to me. Okay, and another question that people probably want to know the answer to is, what did I want to do with this channel? And to be completely honest, I'm happy where it is. Even if I get more popular, I'm still probably just gonna upload TF2 clips, Sonic Galaxy Disaster clips, PvZ clips, all that. But I wouldn't be lying if I said I didn't want to try animating. Maybe. Since I have a computer now, I can always just get Source Filmmaker and start animating things like that. Be pretty interesting thing to learn. But that's probably gonna be a while, if it ever happens in the first place. But yeah, I'm pretty happy where the channel is now, but I would like to expand on it by doing new things. I'm for the most part using this channel to experiment Like, I posted gaming clips, and I posted edited gaming montages, and I posted analysis videos. I sort of just want to cover everything. That's what this channel is trying to be, a variety channel, but mostly including gaming. One question a lot of you guys are probably going to want the answer to is, what am I going to plan on making next after this video? Well, I'm probably just going to upload a few more edited gaming clips and all that, but I do plan on making a couple of pretty big and interesting videos. One of them might be a little bit controversial, but then again, I sort of just want to kind of experiment by talking about controversial things. It's definitely not going to be something I plan on making a ton of. And I'm probably going to go back to regular gaming analysis videos. As for what the controversial topic in question is, you're just going to have to wait to see it. Now, this next one is definitely something a lot of people probably want to know. What's the deal with my PFP and name? There's actually a pretty simple answer to that. I was sort of going through this hell of a boss phase when I first started making this channel. I believed it was generally one of the best pieces of media I've ever seen. And then I watched MSS Blue, and then I noticed all of Helluva Boss's flaws. So, safe to say that I was eventually... It's kind of ironic now, I don't watch the show that much anymore. I usually just look at the fan content, because usually it does better than the show. And as for my name specifically, I specifically picked Luna because she used to be my favorite, but then it quickly turned over to Moxie, because I just generally find him more of a fun character, when they don't ruin him horrifically like they did in that one episode in Season 2. As for the PFP itself, that just comes from my general love of pizza. It's one of my favorite foods. And the reason why I chose the pizza was because that piece of pizza looked so triangular. It looked good to look at, more than it did to eat, if that makes any sense. One question that a lot of people probably want the answer to is if I'll ever do a face reveal, and I'm just going to say it right now, no, I will never do a face reveal, no matter how many subscribers I have. I just want to keep that part of me personal. I'm sure most people can understand that. And for my final question, might as well talk about what got me into each and every single fandom and community. And all of them were either I played the games and watched the TV shows as a child, or I discovered it on the internet through YouTubers. The only one this doesn't apply to is the furry fandom, and that's because it's actually a mix of both. I watched a lot of cartoons of funny animals as a kid, and I also eventually found the furry fandom through Sabrina the Skunk, which is a semi-popular comic strip. Alright, well, now that the general questions are over, I'm now just gonna list a bunch of fun facts about myself, since, you know, I don't really know what else to say here. My absolute favorite food is mac and cheese with hot dogs inside of it. I've always sort of had this in my childhood, and towards my teenage years, I still absolutely love it. My favorite TF2 map is actually CP Gravel Pit, believe it or not. Don't ask why, I just really like the layout of the map, despite the fact that nobody really enjoys playing it, or nobody really even talks about it. My favorite map in Garden Warfare 2 would have to be Zombopolis, and my favorite map in Sonic Galaxy Disaster would be, You Can't Run. My favorite Roblox game would be Survive and Kill the Killers of Area 51, but I haven't played it very much. After a good year or so, I sort of stopped playing it. I still play it occasionally, but definitely not as much as I used to. I do have a persona, but he hasn't been brought into the world yet through commissions and or my own drawing skills. I don't really have a main in TF2, but the class that I've played the most is Soldier, and I believe it's followed by Medic, Engineer, and Spy, just because they're some of the funnest for me. I do have a main Sonic.exe The Disaster. It's clearly Eggman. He's the character I enjoy playing the most, albeit the consistent nerfs he's received have definitely made me not enjoy playing him as much as I used to, because Jesus Christ, the nerfs he has been given. I did have a main in Garden Warfare 1, it was Toxic P and General Supremo, and then in Garden Warfare 2, I still really enjoy playing Supremo, but I now play a lot of Computer Scientist and Twilight Chomper. I find both of them really fun to play. Just in general, I generally believe Computer Scientist is one of the best characters in the game. That's just how good he is. My favorite collection of videos and series on YouTube would have to be Snapcube's real-time fan dubs. It doesn't really matter if they're Sonic related or not. It just, any fan dub really works because they're all just objectively really funny. Whereas my least favorite series on YouTube is Pretty Blood. I absolutely hate that series with a burning passion. If you like that series, you have no taste. Simply put, you have no taste. Because you shouldn't be reviewing or talking about what's good and what's not good, let's be honest. You can definitely argue with me that the real-time fan dubs aren't that good, and I would be willing to listen, but if you say that you like Pretty Blood and that isn't a horrible show, yeah, no. Just no. You could never convince me to ever like that show. As for shows that aren't on the internet, my favorite would have to be SpongeBob. I mean, hey, SpongeBob's a good show. You can't really go wrong with it. Too bad the executives at Nickelodeon did. Because, I mean, have you seen the newest episodes and the Sandy movie? My absolute favorite color is ellipsis green. I just think it really fits nice with most other colors, or on its own. I have really bad arachnophobia, and sometimes it gets so bad to where I have these freak out moments because I think a spider may be on me, even when there's nothing there. My top 10 favorite games are Garden Warfare 2, Roblox, TF2, Among Us VR, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Granny, the original PvZ games, and Driver 2. My favorite furry content is Sabrina Online and telephone compilations. I just find telephone compilations really cute. Sabrina Online was my first, and it still is my favorite. My favorite book series and comic book series are Wings of Fire, the Sonic IDW comics, Big Nate, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. My favorite YouTubers are Markiplier, Dennis Daly, Captain Sauce, Wolfie Plays, Smitty, Pymations, Soundsmith, Snapcube, Lee, and finally Dubus Goobus. Markiplier is my favorite because of the games he plays and the type of person he is and the types of hijinks he gets himself into. He's a genuinely good person while also being a really funny YouTuber. Dennis Daly is my second favorite because he was the first big YouTuber that I've started watching a lot of their videos, just in general. He introduced me to things like group Let's Plays as well as Roblox, not to mention the fact that he's a pretty down-to-earth person despite having a mostly child audience, which you don't see much nowadays. Captain Sauce and Wolfie Plays are actually two of the YouTubers that partially inspired me to become a YouTuber myself, because despite how simple their edits were, they were effective and well done. It made me feel like no matter what I was making, as long as I put time and effort into it, then it would be good. I'm not all that surprised that I found them though, because they actually have very similar editing styles to Dennis. Smitty and his group of friends bring that sort of chaotic energy that doesn't get really annoying really fast, unlike most other YouTubers, or at least that's how I feel about them. Pymations is responsible for some of the best animations on the internet, in my personal opinion. Soundsmith's editing skills, as well as the way he coordinates and makes his videos, makes it to be some of the most entertaining TF2 content I've ever seen. Lythero and Snapcube do a really good job at bringing the characters that they play to life. Whether or not they're playing a game or doing a dub, just in general, they're really good at making me laugh while also making me feel like I'm watching a movie rather than just a video. And I can't really say that for most YouTubers nowadays. And finally, Doobus Goobus has really engaging and entertaining and addictive videos that subvert most expectations of modern media nowadays, which is what makes him so likable. My least favorite YouTubers are Major Klug, Youthfully Idiotic, That One Furry Dude, Timu vs. All, Griffmas, Master Oogway, Vorobe, and GoMotion. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really hate GoMotion or Vorobe like the others. It's just almost every single opinion that they've ever had has been one that I've disagreed with, and their videos keep popping up in my recommended because the videos they make are pretty much the videos I watch. So I'm constantly exposed to seeing their content, and it definitely, I'm not saying everything is something I've disagreed with, but they've definitely just done so many things. Almost every video is just one that I'm just like, no, I don't agree with that. Master Oogway is just a content farmer that he puts good YouTubers to shame, and I really hate that he has so many subscribers when all he did was just make really poor quality edits and then complain all the time. And I constantly have to see his videos in my recommended despite the fact that I don't even watch them. Now, Griffmas is a little bit of a weird one because rather than finding his videos in my recommended, watching them, enjoying them, and then finding out that he's actually a pretty bad person, I actually searched him up because apparently he is the most popular among us VRtuber, and I wanted to watch some of his videos because I really enjoy Among Us VR, but the problem with that was the fact that he is very similar to Master Oogway in that he's a content farm that doesn't ever change his type of quality in videos, and his whole thing is just trolling kids on Among Us VR. He doesn't even really play the game, he just trolls kids all day. I might just say that's just... Trolling kids is already kind of stupid because it's not like they can understand complex trolling, so the only thing you can really do is just... The only thing he actually does is just, call them poopy head and scream at them. I don't really understand how that's comedy. Walking up to a kid in a video game, calling them poopy head, screaming at them. Sometimes the kids don't even deserve it, which makes it suck even more. He's just an overall very spammy content farm that really just spends his time doing nothing with his finger up his ass, repeatedly making videos of subpar quality that are exactly the same. Timu vs. All, That One Furry Dude, and Youthfully Idiotic are all terrible people who have drawn inappropriate art of characters that are underage, and when I mean underage, I mean really young. And whenever they're confronted about it, they turn into smug assholes about it. Especially Youthfully Idiotic. He's just an all-around terrible person. And then there's Major Klug, who basically just did every unimaginable thing to a child on the internet. If you can think of something that is unimaginable that you could do to a child on the internet, he most likely did it. But yeah, that's pretty much every big fun fact about me. Now let's move on to some of the stuff that a few of you have probably been waiting for, albeit a good chunk of you probably also just skipped to this part. The comments asked by other people. So let's get into that. The first question I have here is, did you like the joke I made in your last episode? I mean, yeah, it was an alright joke, but it wasn't necessarily something that made me roll on the floor laughing or anything like that. And now for the next two questions, which are, was it hard becoming a YouTuber, and what was the software you mainly used, video filming, etc.? And the second question is,
does she know how to make a grilled cheese?
Okay, so for the first question, it's not really that it's hard, but more that it's kind of aggravating and a little bit time-consuming. Well, I wouldn't say a little bit, definitely a lot time-consuming, because time usually takes up most of the reason why I don't pump out videos like this as much as I'd like to. And for editing purposes, it's usually just CapCut and the Xbox app. There will rarely be something in between, but I have occasionally used other apps, but for the most part it's just CapCut on my phone and the Xbox app. The third question on this list is, what's my favorite video game to play and or make videos of, and what's my favorite Hellv subclass? To answer the first question, it's really, Garden Warfare 2 is my favorite game to play, but I do love making videos of TF2, just in general, PC version or console version. As for the second question, it's primarily, if I had to choose one, Fat Scout. Definitely Fat Scout, because the others are just way too situational and not all that fun. Moving on to the fourth question, which is, have I ever heard of Typical Colors 2? Yes, I have. I have thought about playing it, but Roblox games are very weird sometimes. High quality ones can run just fine, whereas low quality ones run like absolute dog shit. So I don't really know if it's actually going to run smoothly on my Xbox or not. It is an old Xbox, so. Plus, I'm pretty sure it has physics in it, which can make things worse. Now, moving on to the next question, which is, why that PFP and where is it from? Well, I would sort of half answered this question, but I didn't answer the second half, so I might as well just answer the second half. It's a Domino's pizza specifically, and the brown thing surrounding it is the box it came in. Alright, now this next question is just asking for a face reveal, which I've already stated why I don't really want to do one. And now for the next question, which is, what are you going to do if you manage to reach 1 million subs? To be honest, I don't ever think I'm going to ever reach that high, but if I ever did, I can tell you one thing I'm damn sure gonna keep doing, which is monitoring my comment section to make sure that there aren't scam bots in it. Because I don't care how popular I am, if my comment section is filled with people that spam the skull emoji, or bot comments like the YouTube TP and women with big breasts, I can assure you I'm gonna turn comments off if it really gets that bad. But I'm hoping that it never does. And now it's time for the final comment that And now for my last comment, which is pork or chicken. I'm gonna be completely honest, I really think it just kind of depends on the situation and depends on what type of pork and what type of chicken. Because I don't eat pork that much, and there's a really good reason as to why I don't eat that much pork. Because it doesn't work well with my insides. But as for chicken, I don't honestly like chicken all that much. Unless it's like a chicken nugget or a chicken tender or a chicken patty. Basically anything that has bread on it that's chicken related. I also like chicken skin, so if like a chicken is spiced well, I might eat it. So if I really had to pick, I'd probably go with chicken, even though I don't like chicken on its own. But I don't really think anybody does, so. And I think that's just about it. I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. I answered all the questions that I wanted to answer, just that way you guys can understand a little bit more about why my channel came to be, and, you know, stuff like that. I really don't know what else to say here. I guess, thank you. I probably should say this. Thank you for the 1,000 subscribers. It really does mean a lot to me. If you want to ask a question in the comment section below, you can. I'll still answer it. Just know I'm not going to make a second Q&A, so you're only going to get a comment. Anyways, goodbye.